Why do most African American Christian churches take a don't ask, don't tell stance on homosexuality? Is it hypocritical for a pastor to accept the tithes of gays and lesbians in their congregation and then condemn their sexual orientation? What does the Bible really say about homosexuality? An exploration on homosexuality in black churches, coming up on In Focus. I'm David Bowl. Today on In Focus, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at homosexuality in black Christian churches. Later on, I'll be speaking with a panel of ministers on the topic. But first, let's take a closer look at the issue.
Well, I always knew that I was different, and I couldn't put my finger on it.
Micah Meredith, like many African Americans, grew up in a Baptist church. He attends worship on Sunday at Tabernacle Baptist Church and shares his talent for music by directing the choir. But a part of Micah's identity has driven a wedge between himself and many in the black church.
I had an attraction towards men, and I still didn't say anything to my parents. I went off to college, and that's when I met what you could say was my first boyfriend.
Acceptance of homosexuality in mainstream America has come a long way since the gay rights movement began in the 1960s. Gays and lesbians were considered mentally ill by the American Psychiatric Association prior to 1973. Now their relationships are legitimized in some states and many countries. However, the trend of growing tolerance is still met with resistance, particularly in some African American Christian communities who uncharacteristically voted Republican in the 2004 election in order to prevent gay marriage from becoming legal.
The single issue that was driving the vote increasingly and compellingly came from this idea that, the gay agenda and same-sex unions and marriages and all that this ilk is going to bring to the community is going to contaminate and impurify us.
Alton Pollard, the director of Black Church Studies at Emory's Candler School of Theology, explores some of the fundamental reasons for homophobia in black congregations.
The issue is fear. If you already are coming from a background where you are constantly under assault, under attack, not having your own sensibility of being a first-class citizen ever cemented, if you are always made to feel that you have to apologize for being a part of the larger body politic, then the homophobia makes a lot of sense.
In the fairly conservative environment of his father's black church, Micah Meredith faced his own fears and revealed his sexuality to his family. It was a decision that profoundly affected his life as well as the ministry of Tabernacle Baptist. Congregations, Tabernacle Church was non-affirming to homosexuality. However, when a number of Tabernacle's gay congregants protested an anti-gay sermon that was delivered by a visiting pastor, Pastor Meredith reconsidered his position. When his son came out to him, it solidified the change in his position on homosexuality.
My father started preaching affirming messages from the pulpit. He wasn't really saying it was okay to be gay, but he was saying it was okay to be yourself and to love yourself. And it's the church's job to love you for who you are. If you decide that you want to be delivered from being gay, if you decide you want to stay gay, that's okay. Just love yourself.
We've always had folk who were gay and straight and, who all the different designations that we are given to today. We've always had folk with us who loved in their own ways persons. And it's no different from the 1960s than in 2007. At that time, it was always important to think that discretion was the better part of valor.
Don't ask, don't tell has long been the unspoken policy of the black church.
In a black church, there tends to be a lot of secrets. I really don't understand why that is the way that it is. We have preachers who are really gay that are living in secrecy, choir directors who are gay, who are married and living in secrecy. And it's almost like the military. Don't ask, don't tell.
I think in the black communities, the don't ask, don't tell has, again, largely going back to what I said early on, has been a matter of two things. One, a sense that there is a moral impropriety, but as long as no one seems to be hurt by it, then there's no need for us to make a big deal over it. You can come to church, you can be our musicians, you can be our Sunday school teachers, whatever. Just don't draw attention to yourself.
Strict interpretation of biblical text in black churches is another source of intolerance of homosexuality.
The passages they like to take from in the Bible, from Leviticus, thou shalt not lie with another man because it's an abomination. That's the passage they like to take. And they don't understand the historical context of the scripture. And at the time, the Jews were trying to populate a nation. That word, abomination, people have just taken and ran away with it. And to add to the already fear, they add disgust. And disgust and fear is a bad combination.
We're afraid. We are deeply afraid that we are going to lose something, never considering that we may actually be gaining something if we can get past this irrationality and embrace an even greater irrationality, love.